Anstead is a name that frequently conjures up images of automobile restoration, being successful on television, and of course its obvious allure. However, due to an unexpected turn of circumstances, Hent has become the focal point of legal drama. This has caused his followers to question how he was able to transition from the position of the show's center of interest to that of a typical tribunal. Despite the fact that some of these court disputes were about the work, others were about things that were closer to his home. You have arrived at the proper location if you are curious in the circumstances that lead to these legal battles and how they occurred to involve someone who is reportedly con. Come along with us to find out the true reason why Anstead has been sentenced to a criminal prosecution. Anstead, a talented car enthusiast and television personality, found himself in the middle of a court struggle involving his luxury automobile firm, Radford Motors, quite a few months ago. An original promise of creative ideas and perfection was made by the luxury firm that was established by Hent and Jensen Button, who won the Formula One championship. However, at the present time, the company is facing major claims of fraud and poor financial management with regard to its operations. Just to make the issue even worse, a number of legal actions have been taken as a result of the allegations, which have resulted in the company's reputation being damaged. The story of clients who claim to have spent enormous sums of money for customized automobiles that had not yet been delivered is one of the most noteworthy examples of this type of investigation. The events that led to the beginning of this story began when a number of consumers claimed that Radford Motors had taken significant accounts for their stunning autos, but had failed to fulfill their responsibility. A judicial action was attempted by Timothy Tasker, who was one of the plaintiffs. He said that he had provided the corporation an account for one of their limited edition Lotus Radford Type 62A2 models in the amount of $11,000 so that NTS could purchase it. This occurred in May of 2022. Timothy stated that he had been informed that the finished automobile will be delivered by the end of the year 2022. This announcement came after he had a series of meetings with Hent and his commercial partner Jensen. In spite of this, Timothy requested a refund in October 2023 because the company had not provided him with any updates regarding the status of the car till that point. Timothy asserted that he had not gotten either the automobile or his money, despite the fact that he had requested it and received numerous follow-up messages. In addition to this, a second justice action was submitted in July 2024, including charges that were comparable to the first, nonetheless, at a more expensive cost. Scott Katzman, a surgeon based in Florida, and Lamborghini Palm Beach, a luxury car dealer, said in a joint file that they had ordered the Lotus Radford vehicle on the premise of Hent. Had of these individuals claimed that they had ordered the vehicle. The two individuals did not place the same order, despite the fact that they simultaneously lodged a complaint. Katzman placed deposits for the Pikes Peak version in special edition, which costs an extravagant price of $1 million, while the dealer made deposits for a Lotus Radford model that costs about $450,000. A trustworthy source claims that Lamborghini Palm Beach made a series of payments totaling $20.5 million between October 2021 and August 2023. These payments were made over the course of the period. The customer requested a refund after the company failed to provide any updates and repeatedly delayed the delivery of the product. They asserted that Radford had suggested a return system for the automobiles, but nothing was ever done to fulfill the promises that were made. The money that consumers deposited for luxury automobiles would have been inadequately managed within the corporation, according to the documents that were filed in connection with the case. According to the records, the monies that were supposed to be used for the construction of the cars have instead been used for other purposes. although the specifics have not been made available to the general public. Concerns have been expressed regarding the functioning of the company as a result of these expenditures. The filing of a report by Radford Motors in October 2024, which evoked financial issues and legal disputes in court, was an additional piece of fuel that added fuel to the fire. Despite the fact that this may come as a surprise to the general public, it did not do much to alleviate the fears of its customers, who were concerned about whether or not they would ever be able to receive their money back on the automobiles that they had paid for. Anstead and his company, on the other hand, have done this before. It was not the first time. Currently, Radford Motor was in court. As March 2024 approached, Hent discovered that it was embroiled in yet another legal conflict regarding its corporation. Pastor Pat Velasco, a commercial partner and one of the early investors, was the one who actually meant for the experiment to take place this time, rather than the customers themselves. According to the source, Pat asserted that Radford Motors owed him $2 million, a declaration that sparked a new contentious issue in a company that was already experiencing difficulties. Despite the fact that the trial was primarily focused on unpaid debts, it also provided additional insight into Radford's management of his finances. Because of this, Pastor Pat was one of the first investors to have faith in Hent's company. In order to support his goal of making historic vehicles that were influenced by the British style of the middle of the century, Pastor Pat joined Hent and co-founder Daniel Bednarski. As is the case with any other type of partnership, the partnership was established on the basis of trust and shared interests. Pat, however, asserted that the promises that they had made had not been followed despite the fact that the company was expanding both its operations and its collection of customers. As a result of unsuccessful attempts to resolve the amicable situation, Pat filed a case with the Orange County Superior Court, claiming that he was due millions of dollars in unmet financial responsibilities. The complaint was filed in front of the top court in Orange County. As stated in the records filed with the court, Pat made a significant financial commitment in Radford's business. Nevertheless, he did not receive the return on investment that was agreed upon. Throughout the course of the trial, Pat, through his legal counsel, made allegations that Radford Motors and its owners had failed to fulfill their agreements. A Pandora's box was opened as a result of Pat's complaint, despite the fact that the specifics of the obligations that were not fulfilled were not made public. According to the allegations made in the complaint, the upper management of Radford, which included Anstead and Daniel Bednarski, had misappropriated monies that were supposed to be used for commercial operations. In point of fact, Pat's charges are supported by information from reputable sources, which state that Anstead and his co-founder have, in fact, turned over monies. A complaint was filed by Roger Inbell Jr., a co-owner of the company, stating that Ann Bednarski had mismanaged the company's finances. This was one of the charges that was made. Roger claims that Ann and Daniel have already been given a new sale that is worth $100,000. However, rather than directing the funds toward the proper services, they took $54,635 from this warehouse and used it to pay a supplier for work that was unrelated to the vehicle that the new client was using. Of course, that is not all. A few minutes later, when Bednarski had recovered $50,000, he sent a sum of $20,000, which brings the total amount of money that he had recovered to $70,000. In reaction to the trial, Radford, who had previously filed a court petition for bankruptcy, highlighted that he was resolute in his pursuit of a solution to the matter. Daniel Bednarski, who is also the firm's financial director, disclosed that the company is currently undergoing a reorganization process in order to stabilize its finances and also to regulate its stockholders. Ant, on the other hand, did not make any public statements regarding the bankruptcy lawsuit or the legal processes. Outside of his work in the commercial sector, Tenton Seven is not unfamiliar with activities that include his family. Over the course of the year 2022, he was embroiled in yet another court conflict with his ex-wife Christina Hall, who had previously been known by the name Christina and La Musa, regarding the matter of who will have custody of their son Hudson. Despite the fact that the case started out as a private matter, it swiftly evolved into a public judicial struggle that captured the attention of the media due to the celebrity status of the couple. Despite the fact that many people are aware that Ant was previously married to Christina Hall, he was previously involved in a relationship with the actress Oscar Isaac and Renee Zellweger. On the other hand, the pair made the decision to divorce in September 2020, after having been married for 2 years, citing incomprehensible gaps between them. Following the conclusion of their divorce, they endeavored to establish a cordial co-parental relationship for the sake of their son. In April of 2022, however, Anna made a request for full custody of their son, which caused this distinction to shift. When he was questioned why he had attempted to take legal action, despite the fact that he and his ex-wife had first reached an agreement, he disclosed that his son had been used for the content of social media and for promotional purposes, which, according to him, was not in the child's best interest. Within the document, the aunt made the accusation that Christina prioritized her professional life and her public image over the welfare of their kid. This was done to the detriment of everyone involved. In the year 2022, for instance, their son returned home with a sunstroke that caused him to be in a great deal of discomfort after spending time with Christina. In addition, when Christina's aunt inquired about this matter, she said that he was not a hot guy. Bring him some Tylenol. Tomorrow I have no doubt that things will be better. Moreover, as if that were not enough, the aunt asserted that Christina had, at some point in the future, given birth to Hudson without disclosing the fact that the child had been tested positive for the 2019 fatal virus, so placing the endeavor of her new relationship at jeopardy. In addition, Ente raises concerns about Christina's capacity to raise Hudson in a secure environment, citing her history of engaging in the consumption of narcotics that are intoxicating. In reaction to the charges that Ente made, Christina disputed the allegations, describing them as false and unpleasant. She testified that she had always placed her children at the forefront of her priorities and that she had ensured that each of them was raised in an environment that was both secure and caring. As soon as the aunt submitted a request for complete custody from her son, the son requested an emergency audience to address his worries with the situation. However, the Superior Court of Orange County in California denied his plea, citing a lack of evidence against his ex-wife as the reason for the decision. The judge came to the conclusion that the custody of children who were already in the custody of the court would not be altered until a formal audience could be scheduled.